Scott. Sorry about your Lions yet again. Pick a real football team already. Love you, big guy.
All the conflicts, your visits dire pain on human life.
Murray, what do you want? He pulled a page-sized brown envelope from inside his jacket. Nothing I'm about to tell you leaves this room, he said. Yesterday there was an incident involving the Los Angeles, a nuclear attack submarine that was part of Operation Wolfhead. Operation Wolfhead. The task force assigned the duty of finding and recovering any wreckage from the alien construct that had crashed into Lake Michigan 5 years earlier. That construct had come to be known as the Orbital because, when discovered, it had been in a low geostationary orbit that defied the accepted laws of physics. Margaret had known about the task force, as did most of the public. The government couldn't hide the fact that they'd moved warships onto the Great Lakes. But she hadn't known a nuclear sub was involved. What matters is that for 5 years, the crew of the Los Angeles found nothing of note. 6 days ago, the sub's commander reported a significant discovery. 2 days ago, the flotilla lost contact with the sub. And last night, the Los Angeles fired torpedoes at and sank the guided missile destroyer Forrest Sherman and the Coast Guard cutter Stratton. Clarence sat forward. Sank? Heavy casualties? Murray nodded. Right now, the survivors of the sunken ships are all on board the Pinckney and on the Carl Brashear, a Navy cargo ship converted for orbital-related research. Clarence's face wrinkled in indignation. You didn't evac the wounded to mainland hospitals? That's not... Margaret's left hand found Clarence's knee. An automatic gesture, a way for her to tell her man, relax, even though he apparently wasn't her man anymore. The wounded can't leave, she told him. No one there can. Clarence blinked, then he got it. Any of those survivors, wounded or not, could be infected. Hundreds dead, just like that. A U.S. ship sinking other U.S. ships. Margaret knew the infection could make that happen, could take over a host's brain and make him do horrible things. Cellulose tests, she said. Any positives? 2, Murray said. Both from corpses. Positive tests. Just the thought of it made Margaret sick. The infection was back. Did the autopsy confirm she died from blood loss? Murray frowned. You've been out of the game longer than I thought, Doc. We didn't do an autopsy yet. The Los Angeles had a mission to recover pieces of the orbital. You remember the orbital, right? That thing that made the most infectious disease we've ever seen? A disease that turned people into psychopaths? The thing that made little monsters that tried to open a goddamn gate to another goddamn world? The thing that forced us to nuke the Motor City to stop that gate from opening? Margaret felt her own lip curl into a sneer. Yes, Murray, I so need you to remind me about the orbital. This is from the orbital? Maybe, Murray said. An unmanned probe discovered it 6 days ago. 5 days ago, it was brought on board the Los Angeles using the most rigorous decontaminant and BSL-4 procedures known to man. Clarence took the photo. Not rigorous enough, apparently. Murray nodded. 3 days ago, the Los Angeles commanding officer reported problematic behavior among the crew. We're sure that was the beginning of the infection incident. Clarence handed her back the photo. She stared at it, amazed that she was probably looking at an actual piece of alien hardware. The most significant discovery in human history, a discovery that had already delivered death and promised much more of the same. This object, Margaret said, is it now on board the Carl Brashear? Murray shook his head. It remains in the Los Angeles. Nuke it, she said. It shocked her to hear those words coming out of her mouth, but it was the only way to be sure. Massive ecological damage was a small price to pay for ending the threat. Do it now. Today, Murray, before it gets out. Destroying it isn't an option, Murray said. If we grab it now, at least we have a chance at containment. We need to know how that object affected the crew. Is this the same thing we saw before, or a new phase in the disease's development? Finding that answer could literally save the world. Doc, you are the only choice for this job, but forgive me for being an insensitive prick when I say that you might not be playing with a full deck. Otto's been taking care of you for years. He's the best qualified to keep you focused. Great, Margaret said. So you're assigning a babysitter? I'll assign a midget with a whip if that's what it takes to keep you from reading blog posts about yourself for 15 hours a day. Margaret fell silent. Murray knew all about how far she had fallen. Of course he knew. Clarence had probably told him. Murray reached out and took the envelope from her. "Get packed," he said. "A car will be here in 15 minutes.